let's go back to 1937 when Walt Disney and his animators gave us the beauty that is Snow White. Kind, innocent, and ultimately the fairest of them all, we saw how these attributes ultimately carved her story out for the better. However, we do ponder about what her story would be like if she didn't have all those attributes. Same goes for some of the other important characters in the story. What if her stepmother wasn't such a horrid witch? What if the dwarves were not so hospitable? Join us as we take a look at how the story of Snow White would have played out if the characters were reversed. The huntsman. First, we have the huntsman, the assassin hired to get rid of Snow White. Conflicted. One of the first things that we notice about the huntsman is that he is immediately troubled with the assignment that is given to him by the evil queen. What do you mean you want me to kill the princess? She's only a little girl. Compassionate. In the end, although he initially took the assignment, he just couldn't see the sordid mission through. No, he was too good for that. That's why he told Snow White what happened, and that's why he ultimately let the poor girl escape from the grasp of the evil queen, intelligent and protective. Knowing that the evil queen would not stop until she thought that Snow White was dead, the huntsman devised a plan to throw her off by giving her the heart of a pig. This intelligent move bought Snow White some time to get away from this devious being. Thank goodness Snow White got to deal with a huntsman with a good heart. Imagine if she actually had to deal with the assassin. Certain about his evil mission. What can we say? He's an assassin. He knows his assignment and he probably loves it. Lack of compassion. Nah, Snow White's beauty and innocence is not gonna get to him. This is one cold-blooded killer who is just here to do a job for the evil queen Dangerous. Finally, this is one dangerous individual who loves to harm people. Thank God the evil queen chose the huntsman to do her evil bidding instead of this ruthless killer. The prince. Now let's take a look at our prince. Charming. One thing about our prince is that he's one charming SOB handsome with an amazing singing voice. It doesn't take long for Snow White and many people worldwide to fall in love with him. No wonder he is the archetypal Prince Charming, unassuming. Another thing about our prince is that he is not one that cares about appearances. Having met Snow White with her clothes tattered, he still knew that he was looking at the fairest of them all. Dependable. Looking at how he traveled the land to find Snow White, you can tell that this was real love. Moreover, he was there to give her the kiss to bring her back to life. If that isn't dependable, we're not sure what is. Meet Prince Uncharming, repulsive. The first thing that we'd have noticed about Prince Uncharming is that he is one repulsive prince. Boorish and unattractive, he would not have been the man for Snow White. Pretentious. Another thing about this Prince Uncharming is that he is full of himself because of his status as a prince. Thankfully, Snow White is not about that life. He would have to do better than telling how much it takes to feed his horse. Thank you very much, undependable. Finally, let's say that Prince Uncharming is not the man to depend on. He'd rather find a new bride instead of tracking Snow White all over the place. Thank goodness she came across Prince Charming instead of this guy, Grumpy. Next up, we have Grumpy, the meanie of the bunch sour. One of the first things that's obvious about Grumpy is how he's always in a bad mood. Nobody wants to be around this sour puss, that's for sure rude. He also happens to be a rude little man, with a mean comment available to him at the drop of a hat. Sexist, arrogant for no reason, and condescending to all around him, we actually wonder how this guy was allowed to stay with the other dwarves. Softy! Maybe because in the end, he truly is a softy. Even though he'd never admit it, he even developed a soft spot for Snow White. Everyone is so tired of Grumpy, maybe Pleasant is a better fit for the seven dwarves. Gleeful! Pleasant is way better than Grumpy because he is one cheerful character, always able to make everyone laugh. Pleasant is just good company. Polite. Pleasant is also good company because he is a cordial individual. With none of the hang-ups that Grumpy has, Pleasant doesn't have a rude bone in his body. Tough. Despite being a pleasant individual, Pleasant is a resilient individual who can't be messed around with. Dopey. Now, we have Dopey, perhaps the sweetest of the bunch, not entirely there. One of the first things we notice about Dopey is that he isn't the brightest character we've ever met. Slow and somewhat dim-witted, let's just say that Dopey is not taking any advanced classes anytime soon. Innocent. That said, we have noticed that he seems to be treated as though he is the child of the group. This may be due to the veneer of innocence that he displays. This can turn out to be annoying when the dwarves are up to some serious business, but we know that they love him just the way he is. Sweet! One of the sweetest characters out there. Dopey is just lovable. Just look at his relationship with Snow White. Dopey may be slow, but he may be as sweet as candy. Dopey is fun and all, but do you guys think the dwarves would rather have Clever around? Worldy. They may prefer Clever because he has been able to experience the world. As such, they'd love to hear one of his many anecdotes on what he's seen in this world. Experienced. Thanks to his travels, he is also way more competent than Dopey. As such, his opinion is a lot more valued than even Doc in the group. Cynical. That said, Clever can be a bit annoying due to his cynical views on many things in this life. That's the cost of intelligence, I suppose. Snow White. Moving on to our main protagonist, Snow White Innocent. One of the first things that we would have noticed about Snow White is that she was an innocent kid. Born to be the apple of her parents' eyes, she would develop into a beautiful young woman who was pure at heart. Despite her many challenges, she would ultimately remain the same till the end. Kind. Snow White's innocence and pureness of heart contributes to her sometimes unlimited kindness. That is why she was able to garner the sympathy of even those who were assigned to destroy her. Well, with the exception of her evil stepmom, of course, hardworking. Finally, it is clear that despite her kind and demure nature, Snow White knew when to tie her boots up and get to work. From the time she was made a slave by her evil witch of a stepmother to when she turned the dwarves' den into a home, Snow White was never one to shy from a day's work. That's one all-round princess, if you ask me. Meet Lilith Black, the worldly antithesis of Snow White. Worldy. Forget about being innocent. Lilith Black is one bad baddie. Learned in all the vices of the land far away, Lilith Black is more likely to steal your innocence. Vain. Kindness is not a concept in Lilith Black's mind. She is more concerned with herself and why she hasn't been appointed as the fairest of them all yet. Who judges these things anyways? Lazy and entitled. Finally, Lilith Black is one lazy and entitled princess. She just can't let go of the fact that the world owes her a favor. When is it gonna be Lilith Black's time to be the queen? When is she gonna meet her Prince Charming? Well, she better worry more about her stepmom trying to do her in, rather than worry about when she's gonna be the most beloved princess in the land. Evil queen / stepmother. Finally, we take a look at our evil stepmother Vane. One thing that we know about our favorite evil stepmother is that she is the vainest of them all. Think about it. Who has a magic mirror to tell them that they are the most beautiful woman in the world? 21st century women aside, our evil stepmother needs to worry less about her looks and more about taking care of her stepdaughter Hateful. Considering how she basically makes a slave out of Snow White and everyone else, there is no doubt that this is one spiteful woman. Jealous of anyone that she believes may have a chance of being better than her, our evil queen is just too hateful to fathom bloodthirsty. Her hate for Snow White exposed her bloodthirsty side. Already she is suspicious because of the death of her husband, and with her various attempts to get rid of Snow White, be it through force or through magic. What a horrible woman! If only Snow White had the good queen / stepmother at home. Humble! With the good stepmother at home, Snow White would have had a humble, down-to-earth stepmom who wanted to bring the best out of her. That would have created a more stable home for the princess who had recently lost her mom. Loving. Another thing about the good stepmother is that she is a loving character. Hoping to make Snow White feel comfortable with her presence in her home, she would have let Snow White know that she isn't threatened by her. Instead, they would have formed a bond that could have lasted a lifetime. Gentle. Finally, the good stepmother isn't out for blood. No, she is a gentle soul who just wants to settle in with her new family. Awesome! Snow White characters reversed. What do you think about these guys? Would they make a better movie? Let me know in the comments. If you had fun, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your fellow Disney fans. Thanks for watching. Until next time, keep dreaming, stay creative.